All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Black Bear TIFF August 25th meeting. I'd like to start out with reading this statement. Been prepared. Bear with me. If I start to speak too softly, let me know. Over the last couple of months, residents have inquired at the town council meeting regarding the reasons behind the town's purchase of the Wilson property, the purchase of 50 Exeter Street, and questions regarding access to Black Bear TIFF. Because these issues are naturally the responsibility of the Black Bear TIFF committee and council, he has asked the body to respond to these inquiries. Over the last couple of months, research has been undertaken to determine why the town purchased the Wilson Martinin property through a review of town council and Black Bear minutes. The Wilson property was purchased on April 30th, 2004 for a total price of $606,000. From a review of the town council minutes, approval was given to the town administrator to purchase the property utilizing bond proceeds. What is now common knowledge, bond proceeds was not used to purchase the property, rather a combination of TIFF funds and the town's general fund were used for this acquisition. With regard to the reason for the acquisition, there was discussion during a non-public session where the council granted the town administrator the authority to negotiate a purchase price for the Wilson property. A review of the unsealed non-public minutes of April 4th, 2007 and the August 15th, 2007 council meeting noted that the council was considering utilizing the Wilson property as an option for an entrance into the Black Bear TIFF. The town purchased 50 Exeter Road on June 8th, 2006 for a price of $135,000. The total cost for this purchase was withdrawn from the Black Bear TIFF fund. The reason given for the purchase, as noted in the June 7th, 2006 Town Council minutes, the property could be used as a connector route between Route 108 and Route 152. Both of these purchases utilized TIFF funds for the property acquisitions. However, as was mentioned earlier, a combination of TIFF funds and general fund revenue was used in the purchase of the Wilson property. This resulted in a negative balance to the TIFF fund of $294,022 at the end of the fiscal year 2004. Over the subsequent years, as additional captured tax revenue was added to the Black Bear fund, the town's general fund was repaid. At the end of the fiscal year 2005, the outstanding balance owed to the town's general fund was $119,428. At the end of the fiscal year 2006, the outstanding balance owed was $97,348. In fiscal year 2007, TIFF revenues completed the final payment to the town's general fund, and the year-end balance was positive $62,138. At the present time, the total amount captured tax revenue equals $399,912. The second issue that has been raised at town council meetings relating to access to Black Bear TIFF, there are actually three potential access options to Black Bear. The first is the installation of a railroad crossing at the end of Forbes Road into Black Bear. The second is the construction of a bridge from Route 108 into Black Bear. The last would be from Newfields over the current New Road Railroad Bridge into Black Bear at the Wilson property. I can state unequivocally that the Black Bear Committee has never discussed or expressed an interest in truck traffic traveling the length of New Road to some undisclosed entrance into Black Bear. Any individuals who have indicated that the Black Bear Committee was or is considering heavy truck traffic on New Road to gain access to Black Bear are completely incorrect. Heavy traffic on New Road is not an option. Members of the Black Bear Committee have met with representatives from the state of New Hampshire to discuss the potential of an upgrade to the New Road Bridge, which is owned by the state of New Hampshire, which is in Newfields. There has been a request made to the state to provide an estimate as to the cost for said infrastructure improvements. Further, there were discussions relative to available fund sources from each the state and or federal governments in order to provide the upgrade. The Black Bear Committee has never expressed an interest in participating in the cost for an upgrade to the Newfields New Road Bridge. The committee feels strongly that the responsibility will be borne by the individual who holds the mortgage to the Ham property and whose responsibility it is to construct and access to Black Bear TIFF. Further, any improvements to Route 108 which lie in Newfields onto New Road would be the responsibility of the prospective developer. We hope this provides answers to the questions that have been raised. And what I would like, Ed, if possible, is to have this put in the record and with the minutes for approval next meeting.
Yep.
Okay? All right. Now we'll move on to the agenda, and we'll start with the approval of the minutes. We'll start with May 26, 2011. And does everybody have a copy of that? Everybody had a chance to review those minutes? I can't, August 25th, 2011, okay. May 26th. There. Okay. Is there any comment on the May 26th, 2011 minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And next, we have the June 2nd, 2011 minutes. This was the site walk that we conducted. Am I correct? Yes.
The Wilson property.
Of the Wilson property. Dick, you weren't at that.
No, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to abstain from voting. I was not present at that meeting.
Neither was I. Did we have a quorum at that meeting?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No, there were only 3 members of the committee were present. Actually, yes, only 3 members were present at the time.
And I think I was probably the only one at this point that was there.
I was at
Oh, you were there? Oh, that's okay.
So I'll make a motion to accept the June 2nd, 2011 site walk minutes.
And can I second that?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. And-
Abstain.
Okay. Next is the update on Mark Stevens and the crossing.
I can tell you at this point in time that foreclosure actions on the property have commenced, so we're waiting for court action on that.
Okay. Update on NCDC involvement in marketing the district. We discussed in the last meeting, the NCDC was having a meeting for us, and we would discuss potential marketing of the district.
Well, at the last NCDC board meeting, the subject came up, but it really is still an open item from NCDC's point of view. Personally, I look at this grouping as having to play the lead role in that. I don't think NCDC can be prepared to help, but I don't think they should be the leading role player.
So, in regards to marketing the property, I don't know if we ever done any marketing of the property in the past.
We have not. We've had some discussion with the folks at the state level, DRED. The one thing they said to a few of us was that they would be happy to market the property. However, where it's just a big piece of vacant land and there's no real access at this point, it's kind of difficult for them to do something on that regard. When the town gets to a point that it has an access route into the district, and maybe even has a plan as to the lots that are available, even if it's just a plat plan, it would be much easier for them to market it to various individuals in the future.
Do we have a target audience, so to speak, that we're trying to?
No, I think that's one of the things that that the council should talk, or the committee should talk about is what are we looking for as the type of developers that we'd like to draw. I know that the planning board, in updating the economic development chapter, one of the things that they are going to be doing is to undertake a study of all of the different commercial properties that we have in town, industrial properties also, and see if the type of development that we'd like to encourage within those are the proper ones, and then accordingly, change them. Maybe it behooves the committee to invite some members from the planning board to come in and have a conversation as to what we might be looking at, to get some feedback and at least spur that one along, because it's a goal that the town wants to accomplish, is to get some development in there.
I would see no harm in talking to the people at Pease. Pease has done a great job, obviously, of developing their property. I don't know how much more opportunity for development is over there. And other applicants or people they deal with that perhaps are too small for their space that might be compatible to ours. We're not in a position to compete with Pease. We don't have the access to the interstates that they have, or the airport. But they're in contact with a lot of people. And whether it's the town administrator's office or who, I think some contact ought to be made with the players over there.
I agree with Cal on that. There's a lot to be learned. We're not the first people in the world to try to develop space, so we certainly should be taking information from some places like Pease where they've already done it, and very successfully.
Do we have any contacts with, is it the PDA, I would assume, would be Pease? I mean, have we ever tried to reach out to them at all? No?
No,
I don't have any
but that's easy
contact.
enough to.
Yeah.
Contact can be
Right.
made.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is discussion on hiring a consultant to assist the committee in the layout of the district and the development of the website for the Black Bear TIFF. I think you just mentioned the layout of the district as being kind of a potential getting further into the marketing strategy. So I believe we were just talking about the discussion on hiring somebody at the last meeting. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Probably a little premature.
Yeah.
I think so.
Next item is an update on the DOT estimate for improvements of the New Road Bridge.
I have yet to hear anything back from them. I've made numerous calls, just looking to get an update on where they're at, and have not met with much success on getting that back from them. I don't know whether Nancy Mayville, who I've talked to in the past, is still working there, but I've sent emails to them and haven't gotten anything back yet. So I'll continue to try on that. It's rather strange because they'll call back and I haven't heard anything.
And then, as we already spoke about discussions on ways to market the property, state of commercial is kind of reiterating the marketing strategy we talked about earlier. And we talked about getting PDA in here possibly, and someone from the planning board come in and speak to us. All right. Is there any other business at this time?
I'm gonna ask a question, just, and it's gonna be out of ignorance, this is an actual question here. This is, do we have, I mean, I think it's right that it's premature to start hiring a consultant and start getting to that level yet, but do we have like a glide path, or like some sort of like process, or some sort of way forward that we see for developing the TIF? Because I think there's a lot of activities that we can conduct, but I'm not sure if it's not put in the right process, then it's not productivity, it's just activity. So do we have some sort of path towards victory, or whatever the
I don't think that
final
that's
end
a-
state would be?
I think that's a good point, too.
Well, I think that access onto the property is the key. And I think we need to decide which access is the best access at the least possible cost. And then try to pursue that avenue and campaign on it as heavily as we can. I would think that would be our next course of action. If you can't get to the property, then you certainly can't build anything on it.
I guess I have an underlying question, just what authority the TIF committee has. My understanding is it's an advisory committee to the council. And our retention of a consultant, I don't think is our function. It would be a recommendation to the council
Right.
for their retaining assistance to a consultant or anybody else. But my understanding of TIF committees is that as issues come up, we throw our thoughts together and advise the council on the action that we suggest they take. But I may be wrong in my assumption of what the TIF committee is all about.
No, you're correct. It's an advisory board to the council. The prior, a few years ago, when we were looking at Boise Cascade, there was a request to the council to move forward with bringing on board a consultant to assist the group with, seeing if it was a viable option that we should continue to pursue, or whether or not it wasn't. The committee could ask the council to, if we want, develop an RFP and put it out there to find an individual or a company that could come in and assist us with a price. Is what we're trying to obtain here, and then the committee could review those and then give the council a recommendation. As was mentioned earlier, we have almost $400,000 sitting in there that in the TIF that could be used for hiring a consultant to bring somebody on board to look at it and provide us some information. What is the best way and least expensive? How do we go about that? So, if that's what the committee wishes to do, it's an option.
But without the crossing, it's really a moot point.
If I may ask a question. As far as getting into the property, the statement that you read apparently indicates that there's no help to get into that parcel. Is that what you're telling me?
No help?
Yeah.
Essentially, with the crossing, there is not. And then
Well,
we're not
what,
getting
as
response.
far as the access, what can be done to gain access to it that would make it viable? In other words, if somebody's gonna start replacing that New Road Bridge and, spend $1 million on that, I think he's gonna be running for a while, don't you?
Well, in conversations that we've had with Nancy Mayville, John Badger and I, we met with her one day. There was, and maybe there still is, I don't know. There was federal money. The feds were willing to pay up to 80% of the cost of a bridge, with a town paying 10% and the state contributing 10%. There's also an option of the state contributing 80% of the cost and the town picking up 20% of the cost. Now, the bridge is in Newfields. And as Mr. Badger and I looked at it, it would be the responsibility of Mark Stevens, who is the individual who's supposed to provide the access into the TIF district. You know, and I don't think,
Is that, the deal you had with Stevens was that he would provide access to it?
yes, he's even stated that he knows it's his responsibility to provide access, and we don't care what the access
But
is.
that was assuming he'd go over Forbes, is that correct, over the Forbes?
It didn't matter to whether or not we were going over Forbes Road, over the railroad tracks, or coming in a different way.
As far as the town is concerned.
What's that?
As far as the town is concerned, it didn't make any difference.
Right. We just wanted to be able to have access to
Okay.
Black Bear, so that way we could develop the park. Along with developing off of Forbes Road, coming across railroad tracks, would have to be a lot of improvements to Forbes Road at Route 108, because, you know, I mean, I travel that road every day, and there was
Well,
a
as
few
far as
times
an
where...
ideal situation,
Right.
that's really rather poor, isn't it? In other words, so we have other options.
Yep.
Shouldn't we be looking at those and saying, well, this is what we can do?
Yep.
'Cause if
But
somebody's,
the issue is, you know, when we met with the folks at DOT, they said, fill out this piece of paper, we'll give you an estimate as to what the bridge would cost to upgrade it to handle truck traffic, two-way traffic, heavy truck
you're
traffic.
talking about the new Fields Bridge?
Right.
Is that even the right place?
Where else would you go, other than constructing a new bridge that would access some
Well, there's
part of
pretty
the
near
road?
300 acres in there, in this parcel, so
Yep.
it's, you know, it's pretty substantial. So, you know, originally, when this was started, the piece from, say, the present entrance to that property to Newmarket was in that area that was being discussed. And to me, that would probably still be the area, wouldn't it?
If we build a bridge, then it's going to be a substantial cost, because we have to go over the
Well, yeah,
railroad
but it's
tracks.
going to be a substantial cost wherever you go, isn't it?
Well, but the issue is that it's not the town that's going to pay for the access costs. It's Mark Stevens, who the town gave or sold a piece of property to and holds the mortgage on, for his agreement to put in access. Now, originally it was,
Yeah, but if you take that back, that's gone. Is that correct? So that's moved.
if we take it back, we're still, the expectation is that he is going to provide us access, because that's what he said he's willing to do. You know, he has a responsibility to the TIF through, you know, a variety of different ways that, in agreements, Mark Stevens, whether it's Shearwater, Afton Realty, or Home Tech, said that their responsibility is to provide access. And the council's position is their intent to follow through with that, to make him live up to his responsibility. And, you know,
He would control where that access would be.
well, he could control it by putting the railroad crossing in at the end of Forbes Road. He could also, you know, work with the state of New Hampshire and contribute 20% of the cost towards a rehab of the new road bridge, because the state owns that. I'm sure there'd be a substantially lesser cost than putting in a railroad crossing. And it would also then not bother the Downeaster and all the other issues that are there. And I know that when I've had conversations with the folks in Newfields, that, you know, they're looking they'd love to improve that portion that they have, of land that they have along Runaway. And, you know, they're in agreement that if you know, there's a relationship, an opportunity to improve the intersection by Dunkin' Donuts and everything, you know, coming across the bridge, they don't have a problem, because it benefits them. Because right now, if we have a problem, we can't get, you know, the fire apparatus over the bridge, because it's not built strong enough to handle any of the fire trucks. So, you know, they'd have to then go around, which delays time. Same thing with Newfields coming to us in assistance. So there's a variety of options there that provides us. And plus, improving the new road bridge, the access could go directly in and not have to travel any length of new road, but a short distance.
Well, given the economies of our federal government and our state government, I don't see money becoming readily available in the very near future. So I don't think if we're waiting for that to happen, or anticipating that to be the better option, that it's going to be viable for an extended period.
Well, you know, the issue falls back on Mr. Stevens, who has a responsibility.
Right.
And we've been trying to push him to live up to his responsibility. And the town's had an agreement with him since, I believe it was 87, 88. And each time he's not fulfilled any of it, and the council has taken the position, so we take the property back, and then we force him from there to follow through with what he has agreed to in various documents.
Yeah, if you take the property back, what responsibility does he have to you at that point?
Through talking with council, we can still force him to provide for access at that point.
Financially, right?
Yep.
Litigation's our only option at that point, though.
Right.
All right, anything else? Let's move to the scheduling of our next meeting. Looking at what, September 22nd? Or, no, I'm sorry, the 5th, this is the third week? Or is it the
Yep.
fourth? Third week, the 15th?
I think we always meet on the fourth
I'm-
Thursday,
and
so
I'm
it would be
on-
the 22nd.
Yeah, I'm on vacation, okay, the 22nd of September. Anybody see any problems as of right now with that date?
Wow. Oh.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye.